Zach Wojtowicz is my guest this week on the show. As a financial professional, Zach's goal is to cultivate strong, long-lasting, collaborative relationships with his clients. He believes the only solution is a personalized plan that is tailored to the individual's needs, wants, and values. Let's get into it. I'm Paul Blanco, and this is Small Steps, Big Wins. Zach, welcome to Small Steps, Big Wins. I'm so happy to have you on today. And, I've been watching you from afar in our Rhode Island office for a while now. And then it's been really nice having you move into the main office here in Shelton and getting to see you pretty much every day now, suited up, ready to go and bringing the heat. But I'm excited. And you spoke at our Newport meeting this year, and I got such rave reviews. So I'm really excited for you to share your practice and how you got in the business and all that good stuff with everybody today.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here in Shelton. This is fun. Yeah. I guess, to be totally honest, I stumbled my way into this business. I stumbled my way walking backwards, blindfolded. Like I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Looking back, I think I was a little bit lost just with who I was at that time in my life and who I wanted to become. If I may, just a little perspective of this. So like when you guys first brought me in, these are back in the days when you'd send us down to Shelton. So I was working out of the Rhode Island office. You sent us down here and we did a week-long training and you put us up in a hotel. And it was like day 2 or 3 of the training. This is when Amelia and Billy were running the training development department. And day 2, they gave us the Colby to take back to our hotel and do the exam that night. And for those that don't know, so the Colby exam, it's 50 arbitrary questions of just like different scenarios and A, B, C, D of how you're going to respond to it. And it's just testing your decision-making abilities, leadership skills. So I take the test that night. We go in that morning. Amelia's up in the front of the class. And in my class at this time, there's like 20 advisors. So she's reading off the results for all 20 advisors. I'm last, which is probably alphabetical order is my guess.
Yeah, I was down.
So I'm last. And again, those that don't know Kobe, the idea is there's 4 different categories with the bars and the colors. And it's meant to give you an idea, kind of introspective of who you are and what makes you tick. So she gets to mine, holds up mine in front of the room, and it's 3s or 4s across the board, all 4 of them.
Wow.
And her feedback to me was like, you broke the test, Zach. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but you don't really know who you are or what makes you
transition.
You're in transition. And at that time, again, I'm a 22-year-old vulnerable kid. In school, I was kind of an introvert. So coming into this business already, I was a little unsure of myself. And the feedback that she gave, it lit a little bit of a fire. I mean, looking back, she and the test were totally right as far as where I was at in life. But that was just one of those instances of what I needed to hear. And then if I can I'll take it back to kind of let the listeners hear maybe how I got there. So
yeah, please.
Grew up in central Massachusetts, super comfortable childhood. We were not rich. We were middle class. I had friends that financially were worse off than me. Friends with their families were better off than me. But 2-parent household. Mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was the perfect balance of give you guys, me and my 2 sisters, anything you need. I'm always here for you. And oh no, you don't need me now. Go figure it out. Go get dirty. Go figure. It fall on your face a little bit. My dad was corporate America 9 to 5. But I mean, they both they made parenting. They made the whole thing seem so easy. Like I say, my dad was 9 to 5. He coached every single one of my sports teams. So hockey, 5 a.m. in the morning, baseball, 3:30 in the afternoon. He's still working today. And now I have some perspective. His employer is not one to just let you walk out at 3 o'clock and go coach your 9-year-old's T-ball, right? So I can look back and see they made it look so easy, but he made a boatload of sacrifices when I was young, before I could even see it. He probably had an opportunity to climb the corporate ranks and made the decision that he wanted to be a father first and foremost. So it made me super comfortable. And then fast forward, I'm figuring out what I want to do for school. Ended up going to Quinnipiac University as a finance major. but just never really fully applied myself. I was always a good student, loved numbers, was good at math, did enough to get by. And it was all the same in Quinnipiac. Like I went in, declared finance as a major. First couple years, went through the motions. Like I didn't do anything extracurricular, never went above and beyond, got my B's and low A's, and I was happy with it. And I was never really internalizing the things that I was learning. It was just study, get the test done, get your grades, make your parents happy, and then move on. And then probably my junior, senior year, I had a professor who it was not a behavioral finance class, but he was passionate about the subject. I think it was the portfolio management. And he was kind of sprinkling in behavioral finance, like the whole concept of people and money and markets and people. And that resonated with me. Like it kind of stuck with me for those last couple of years, but I was lazy. I was immature. I didn't really do anything about it. So I didn't really think about how I could parlay that into a career. And then senior year rolls around. I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm in classes with, my peers who were impressive. They were moving on to whether it was investment banking or financial analyst roles. And I was still kind of lost. So right before Thanksgiving break, I went to a career fair. Barnum is 15 minutes away from the Quinnipiac campus. So I probably recognized the name, saw their table, walked up, introduced myself. The recruiter introduced me to Joe, who's the managing director of the Rhode Island office. And from there, I had a couple conversations with Joe where it was the best way I can explain it. It was just different. Like I was also going through an interview process with corporate America, with a couple other companies, would have been more traditional 9 to 5. And I mean, for those that don't know Joe, he is extremely passionate about this business. He's a salesman through and through. And those first couple meetings with him, he was selling me on entrepreneurship. He was selling me on a vision of what I could become, what I could build. And entrepreneurship was not in my vocabulary. Again, big time introvert in school. I had a small, group of 3 or 4 friends, never did anything that would be considered, entrepreneurial or as a business owner. So it was intriguing going to these meetings with Joe and then having interviews with other companies. But he could probably see by like the 3rd or 4th meeting with him, just like everyone else, I had some reservations around, no clear path of what this would turn into, no paycheck, right? You're coming in and it's eat what you kill. And I think, like I said, 3rd or 4th meeting, he saw that in my body language. And I vividly remember he stopped the meeting and kind of took a step back and was like, listen, you told me you've never put yourself out of your comfort zone. Here's your chance. You're 22 years old. You're not married. You got no kids. You have no house. You have no apartment. You're living at home. Give it a shot. If you fall flat on your face, burn the boats for 6 or 12 months. But if you fall flat on your face and it's not for you, you'll figure it out. Corporate America will be there. You'll have a year's worth of real world experience. So that was the slap in the face that I needed at that time. And you had Art on a few months ago and something he said resonated. He signed on with Joe. I think I kind of signed on with Joe rather than committing and being passionate about the business at that time.
People go work for people. And it's amazing. And it's interesting you say that. It brings me back, and he did a great job of coaching you, but it's also why I think the college market for kids coming into the business is really good, because of all those reasons you said. You can test something out and then you can become entrepreneurial and break out of your shell. And, fast forward, now you're in the top 1% of the industry, but let's start in those early beginnings. So you get in, and like, how was that first year? And how was it like when you started? Now you're starting the job as a financial advisor.
Yeah. Walk in the park.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Yeah.
No, it was extremely challenging, again, because my personality, I wasn't on paper a good fit for this business. I was extremely lucky coming in, and I like to think that I saw that in the moment. But so when I first started, again, I was in the Rhode Island office. So I had Joe as a mentor. When I say lucky, just surrounded by amazing people. Joe, kind of like the visionary, helped me think more like a CEO, think about my business. Even in my first year, he was kind of already paving that path of what I needed to do to become a better business owner. And then I had Matt. Matt was Joe's number 2. he's an assassin in the business. I mean, as far as just being an expert in the trenches, in the weeds, he's always thinking about where the puck is going in this industry. Matt is one he'll always challenge his own opinions, and that rubbed off on me. So I had two great mentors early on. And the Rhode Island office, just again, for some perspective here, when I came in, it was 30% OGs, MetLife OGs, like the guys that had been in the business for 30, 40 years. And then there was the Bens and the Joshes and the Matts. But at that time, there weren't too many right off the college campus. There weren't so many like right now. We have 14 or 15 inexperienced advisors in the first 3 or 4 years. That wasn't the case when I came in.
Sure.
So I come in and I have Matt at my full disposal, right? I'm bringing him all over New England. I'm bringing him to New York, New Jersey. I'm abusing this guy, getting him in the car for 3-4 hours and then just picking his brain. But I had him to myself for the first 6 months or so. And again, I like to think that I recognized that opportunity and took full advantage of it. So just tried to get my confidence up, tried to get good at the craft, knew that I was lacking in the sales side of the business or the interpersonal side. So I hired some sales coaches, all the things that I needed to work on, just spent as much time as I could early on getting better at it. And then was in a position probably within 9 to 12 months where I was confident enough that I could start running meetings myself, which looking back I'm glad I did, because I was able to sharpen my sword. And then right after I started, Rhode Island office had an initiative where they were going to start bringing in more talent right off the college campus, more inexperienced advisors. So you fast forward 2 or 3 years after that, I was in a functional managerial role with Joe and Matt, sitting in on their leadership meetings, sitting in on the leadership meetings with you and Joe here, just being able to listen to how we build an enterprise, right, from the top down, which was super helpful for me. But then the functional position also gave me the opportunity to run thousands of meetings with junior advisors and just get better and get the reps in. And that was my first 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
I love that. And I think that's really important. I don't think people understand this, the book, The Tipping Point, 10,000 hours, right? And today, imagine if you had Zoom, how many more meetings you would have done, but you were getting in front of people, you're getting better. And I think when you're doing joint work, it makes you go back to making sure you do all the right things, because you have to be so aware, because you don't want to teach something the wrong way. And you might get a little lazy as a veteran, even though you're 3 years in or 2 years in, and do that. And that probably was really great with Matt too, because he's probably teaching some of that stuff to you. So awesome. I love that. And, you talk about a lot, and I know you shared a lot with a lot of the younger advisors about mindset, but, you come in, you're not sure if it's for you, you believe in the leadership team there. They start to mentor you. You're getting off to this great start. Where did the mindset come in for you, and and even today, how do you use that?
Mindset's everything, right? You are your business in this industry. And I think for me early on, my biggest challenge with mindset, and this goes back to my insecurities of not being fully confident in who I was or what I wanted. Actually, quick funny story. So I mentioned my mother before, who the perfect mother, like again, give you anything you want, always there for you. And she was always super, super supportive of anything that I ever wanted to do. So after that meeting I had with Joe, where he was like, you're coming into this business, I go home and I tell my mom, and we didn't know any financial advisors. I didn't know anything about the industry. My parents never worked with an advisor. So she was like, oh, cool. Again, just not really knowing what to make of it. And I then left. I don't know. I probably went to a friend's house or something. But the other thing about my mother, she's a serial Googler. She'll Google anything, right? So I leave and I know she jumps right on her computer. She Googles like financial advisor, young financial advisor. And you know what she sees. The turnover rate in the business, the retention rate. Yeah. The fact that you come in and you don't have a salary. So then I come home from wherever I was, and she was super, cool about it, polite, but was kind of like, you sure you want to do this? All of these things, all of these statistics that I just read up on. So then I come into the business, and I think not that my mom gave me a chip on my shoulder, but it was like, I knew that she and my father put me in this position to succeed. Yeah. And I didn't want to prove her right there. I wanted to prove her wrong. I wanted her to know that they did all that they needed to do and that I was making this decision. I was not going to let it slip through my fingertips. So early on, the biggest challenge with my mindset was the fear of failure, right? And like everything that was driving me for the first couple of years was that I just was not going to fail. And any young advisor listening knows, like, you're going to fail a lot. You're going to fail a lot, and you got to figure out ways to get over it quickly. There's this, I don't know if you heard, I think it was last year, Roger Federer did a commencement speech in Dartmouth. Have you heard this?
No, I have not, but go ahead.
So Roger Federer, one of the all-time greats, tennis player, and he's given his commencement speech to the graduates at Dartmouth, and he talks about his career. So he had 1,500 singles matches, won 80% of them. And then he asks all the students and the audience, how many points do you think that I won in those 1,500 matches? 54%. So he lost 46% of the points, but he won 80% of the matches. And that is kind of that's my analogy now for like life. Every day is a point. The way I see it now is I'm going to lose a lot of points, but I'm not going to lose matches. So just being able to get over failures as quickly as possible, giving every single point the respect and the confidence that you need, like going into it. But then as soon as the point is over, move on and take some time after the fact to go back and reflect on it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm glad you said the reflect part, because when you go back and reflect, you can probably learn on some of those failures, especially if it was with a client that you didn't make a sale, or on the phone, or something you did with a staff. So I think that's really, I love that you got to the reflect piece on that, because that's probably really helpful to you.
100%. Yeah. And the reality is, like with what we do, failure is not, it doesn't, very rarely actually do I think it's going to fall back on the advisor. If the advisor is doing all they can, if they're approaching every day with that respect and confidence and they're consistent, sometimes you run an A+ meeting and the individual just had low blood sugar, right? Or their kid, they just got a call from school, their kid is sick, or their family's dealing with something. Like sometimes it doesn't fall back on you. So being able to go back and reflect and kind of parse out what you did control. And if that was everything you could control, then you did your job. And sometimes it's the situation and you can't let it get the best of you. And the opposite is also true. Like there's days where I have a C- day. Like I'm not totally focused for whatever reason. If it's something going on in my personal life, or if I'm just a little bit drained because it was a busy week, and I might give a C- effort, but the client was just in a position where they needed help. And we get a client, we get a yes anyway. It's still important for me to go back and reflect on that, because I need to know that I did not give that my full effort and they deserved it. They said yes, and that's great, but I need to be able to, next time I sit down with them, show them what an A+ is.
Well, it's interesting. One of the recent shows, they talked about using Zoom AI and being able to go back and watch the tapes. And it's like you're watching the tape of your day and of your meetings and of your week every single day, and you're your own best and worst critic. And what I love about what you said on the C+ days, I think this is important, that you had empathy for yourself. You turned it around and you said, okay, I had a bad day due to X, Y, and Z, and that's okay for you, but it wasn't okay for the client, right? This client deserves me on my A game all the time. And maybe they thought you were, but you reflected and worked on that. And I love that. And don't, for the listeners here, don't shortchange yourself on that. Take that. And, I've always been, I drive in and I'm saying ABC consulting firm, looking at Barnum today to make it better. And I'm going to go in and do that. And then on the way home, I do the same thing. What did I do today to make it better? And not every day is an A.
No.
And you got to really bring that heat. So I love that. Talk about yourself as a day-to-day. It's a little bit of the mindset thing, but what I've noticed in you is you're methodical, but you're focused, and you're laser focused each day of when you come in. It might be a C, but I wouldn't notice that as an outsider looking in. So are your days similar? How do you prep yourself? And, how many client meetings? What are you doing? What's the flow like for you?
Yeah. Yeah. So when I wake up every morning, I think this goes back to one of our I believe it was one of our mid-year meetings years ago. We had an Olympic downhill skier, and she was talking about like when you wake up every morning, you can kind of tell pretty quickly. She broke up her days into thirds. There's a third of the time you wake up, you feel like crap. Like maybe it was because the day before you were training hard, or because your kids got you sick, or you just mentally you're not in a good space. A third of the time is average. You wake up and you feel how you feel. And then a third of the time you wake up and you feel good. You had a good night's sleep. You ate healthy the day before. You're laser focused right out the gates. And I try every morning when I wake up to just acknowledge what type of day it is. If it's that third that I just feel like crap, great. Acknowledge it, embrace it, and just try to, right from the start of the day, figure out what I need to do to put myself in the best position, to be the best version of myself that day, give myself whatever I need, because that's what my clients need. So that's just about the mental space early on. I take mental health and physical health very serious. I can be kind of obsessive about it. Like there's little tricks that I do throughout my day and throughout my week to try to just keep my body and keep my mind sharp.
Well, give them to us. I want to hear them.
Okay.
I might steal it.
This is a new one. I stole all of mine, so you can steal them.
I'm ready.
So what I just started up this year, every Sunday night from 5 p.m. to Monday to 6 p.m. So 25 hours doing a fast.
Wow.
And
I don't think I'll steal that one. Sunday is my cheat night, like pancakes or pizza. But yeah,
all right, do Monday to Tuesday.
People have been doing that, and tell me how it's been working.
I mean, anyone can fast for 24 hours, right? Like doing it once, it's not a big deal. The first time I did it, did it suck? Yeah. Like by 3 o'clock the next day, you're shaking, you're hungry. But my whole thing is doing it consistently, right? Like doing it every single week. Sunday, I'm thinking about 5 p.m. Right when I wake up on Sunday. Like I'm thinking I need to get myself ready for that. Because if I, treat the first half of the day, if I treat my body like crap and then I go to sleep and I don't eat anything for 24 hours, I'm not going to feel good the next day. Sure. So it's just a way, it's one of those little triggers. It's a catalyst for me to kind of get the week going.
Love it.
I wake up Tuesday and I have a boatload of energy. So that's been working. I'm going to sound like a psycho on here, but I'll tell you anyway.
Come on.
I'm doing Road to 1 Million push-ups, which at first, I think I saw it on social media somewhere. There's this kid doing it. So 1 million push-ups, if you break it down, you do 300 push-ups a day for 365 days in a year.
So you're trying to do it in 1 year?
No, a lifetime. No, I'm trying to do it over a year. If you do 300 a day for a year, it's going to take you about 8 years. 8 years.
Oh, 300 a day.
300 a day, 365 days. So every single day throughout the year, that'll take you about 8 years. I'm 32 right now. So originally my goal was to do it before I'm 40, which when I first started, piece of cake, right? Like again, anyone, if you have just a baseline level of fitness, can do 300 push-ups in one day, but doing it every single day for 365 days, like you have a day where you're on the road or you got a wedding and it's just busy, and that always being in the back of my mind, because before, if I had 10, 15 minutes of downtime, I would, plop on the couch and pull up my phone or do something that I'm not saying that I never deserve that sort of downtime, but this was just now I have that where if I have free time, like drop down and kind of get the mind right, get some push-ups in. And I like that it's going to take me 8 or 10 years.
I love it.
Because I'm interested to see, like my daughter's 10 months old right now. My son is 2.5. I want to see what I'm like if I still have this mentality, when they're 9 and 7, if I'm still banging out push-ups.
You will. It's not gonna shut off. It's not gonna shut off. I love those things. Thank you for sharing those. Let's talk about clients and client meetings. And so when you go out and you meet with a client, what is your style like and how are you handling those? Because I know you're so passionate about that and you prep so hard. And I mean, you've said it and I've heard it, like you try to give them what they want, but tell me what, you learned from some great people, and what did you do today to make it yourself?
Yeah. I mean, that last point that you made, learned from great people. Like everything I do right now in my process with clients was stolen from a different advisor.
Yep.
From listening to Jim Ian back in the days when I first started, to Ben and Matt, I just steal little pieces that I think resonate with me and that would fit in my practice. But yeah, so in working with clients now, our motto, our philosophy is that, and this is nothing new, but we give everyone an extremely personalized experience. I am not a great visionary. I kind of have resided to the fact that I'm really never going to be a great CEO in this business. So I'm trying to surround myself in my team with people that are better from like a business owning perspective and the growth of this enterprise. I'm pretty good at, you give me something to do and I can get in the trenches and get it done. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the most charismatic. So like my whole thing was I have to deliver the best product to the client. And delivering the best product to the client isn't just delivering the best financial plan. Like you look around in this firm, you look around in the industry, there's a lot of extremely smart and successful advisors that if you just gave them a case study and they were to put together a financial plan, they're all going to look kind of similar. They're all going to be really good. So when I say the best product, it's then being able truly to communicate that plan to the client in a way that resonates with them. And I mean, we pride ourselves on communication. It's from our intro meetings with new prospective clients. I'll take 20 minutes after that intro meeting to type up what, when they first get it, probably seems like an intimidating email because it's long and there's a lot in there, but I bullet point out every little thing that I heard them say. And the way I explain it to them, this is 50 minutes after I just met this person, is I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit 20 or 30 minutes of my time to do this and give it to you. Because if you are going to work through the rest of this exercise with us, if you are going to allow me to interview to be your financial planner, I need to tell you what I'm hearing to give you the opportunity to course correct us. So we spend a lot of time early on, and then that continues throughout when we're delivering financial plans to clients, every one of them, every time. Anytime we're making any little tweak, they get an executive summary document, which again, stole that. But the idea of the executive summary is just, you're being very clear. Here's what we're doing. Yes, here's how it's going to be done. But most important, funneling back up to the things that you told me in the first meeting. Here's why we're doing it in the first place. So yeah, every part of our process right now is pretty labor intensive because there's a super heavy focus on the personalized communication. And I realized over the past few years that is not very scalable. So that's where these past few years I've been trying to focus on surrounding myself with teammates that believe in the same philosophy, believe that in doing the business the way I'm doing it, that it's the right way, and then trying to just get that message out to as many people as possible.
I love it. Now, what percentage of your meetings are in Zoom right now versus face-to-face?
90%.
Yeah. So it's just great.
Yeah.
So have you adopted Zoom AI yet for your business yet?
Not yet. It scares me.
No. Well, I think you have to do, just like you did research on some of the other things for your mindset. I think based on what you're saying, you have to do that because that's going to save you and your team so much time, and it's going to make you way more efficient. And, it's going to give the clients exactly what you're saying. And talk about role playing with yourself. Imagine listening to yourself and seeing it.
That's scary,
right? It'll give you real, true, you can play Monday quarterback on your appointments. So really good stuff. When you think about, what keeps you focused to the next day on, like, you're doing all these meetings, you're building this process. I love that you know what you don't know and you go and find it, but then you know what your skill sets are and you're trying to build around it. So what's next for you in those things and helps you to think through the next steps, like where you'll be at 40?
To be honest, I've never been good at thinking long-term.
Great. So that's the thing that, as you talked about the visionary, that's the thing that you stay within the moment.
I do. Yeah. And listen, for the record, anyone listening to this, having business plans, having goals that you can quantify and track, I think for 90% of new advisors or even advisors that have been in the business for a decade plus makes sense. It works for almost everyone. I just, again, because I explained in the first 15 minutes of this kind of my personal journey early on in the business. And I just became super comfortable with myself and what made me tick. And I'm the type of person that I am extremely critical of myself first and foremost. Like I can go home at night and just look in the mirror and look at myself and know if I gave it my all or left anything on the field. And my mindset is just if I can focus every day on being a better husband, being a better father, a better son, a better brother, a better friend, I'm going to become a better planner, a better business owner with time. And where that takes me by the time I'm 35 or 40 or 50, don't get me wrong, I'm hyper focused on building and making sure. You said before, like what kind of keeps you going. I've made a boatload of promises to a boatload of people. And again, with just the way that we do things, the boatload of people who I've made these promises to, I feel a very close connection with them. Even those that are, hundreds or thousands of miles away, where it's just been a Zoom relationship. Every day when I wake up, I know that they're looking to me. And for me to be a better planner for them, it has to start with me internally.
Listen, I truly believe, and many of you have heard me on the show and speak personally, but the purpose is one thing that a lot of advisors maybe got in the beginning, but maybe forgot along the journey. You're 10 years in now, and you still have that, and that's the game. That's the game. Once you have that purpose locked in, and you know what your role is for those people and how important you are, it becomes a noble profession. And that's really exciting. All right. One last tip. If you're, let's talk about, you hit the top 1%. I know what your answer is going to be, but what is the one tip you give to the next person that's in your same seat? Is it the mindset? Is it just the day to day? What is it that you say, you would give them?
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's consistency.
Yeah.
Right. It's you have to be consistent. Anyone can fast for 24 hours. Anyone can do some push-ups. Anyone can come in here and have one good day or even one good week of dialing. But to be truly consistent day in, day out, month in, quarter out, you got to surround yourself with really good people who believe in you and pull the best out of you. And you have to have some sort of framework that you live by. That takes a lot of hard work, and that takes you kind of taking a step back and again, reflecting on kind of where you're at. But once you build that framework, you surround yourself with people that want to see you succeed, then it's just about consistently executing day in and day out.
Yeah. And I would summarize that you have to have massive discipline. And, when you talked about the thirds of the days and the days you wake up and you're not feeling great and you have to figure out how to get through the day and get great. That's the discipline. And it's great work, Zach. Congratulations on your success. And I can't wait to see where it is. I could see where it's going to go. So one day I'll share with you where you'll be. And I'm really proud of what you've accomplished. And listen, for all the listeners, think about the steps that he's taken on a day-to-day basis. He's not looking forward. He's looking first right where he is. He's planted where his feet are, and being really present on a day-to-day basis. And that's how he's grown to where he is at 32 years old. So super proud of you. Congratulations on your success, Zach.
Thank you, Paul.
You got it. Thank you for listening to Small Steps, Big Wins. Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
All opinions expressed by the program participants are solely their current opinions and do not reflect the opinions their respective parent companies or affiliates or the companies with which the program participants are affiliated. Investments or strategies mentioned in this program may not be suitable for you, and you should make your own independent decision regarding them. This material does not take into account your particular investment objectives, financial situation, or needs, and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. You should strongly consider seeking advice from your own investment advisor. Securities and investment advisory services offered through qualified registered representatives of MML Investor Services, LLC. Member SIPC, 6 Corporate Drive, Shelton, Connecticut, 06484, telephone number 203-513-6000.